Hi, everyone. Welcome to Manitowoc Cooperative Ministry Daily Devotions. I'm Pastor Judine Duerwaechter, co-pastor with the MCM. And as mentioned yesterday, I'm bringing you daily devotions, not on the Psalms this week, as we have finished those up, but instead on just kind of a free form. So some things that I've been thinking about were, why not talk about my favorite things? And I'll spare you the singing of one of my favorite songs from one of my favorite movies, The Sound of Music. These are a few of my favorite things. We'll bypass that this day. But I shared last devotion that I really, really like. One of my favorite things is looking at spiritual teachers, or, it doesn't even have to be that word spiritual teachers, but people who have given from the lessons that they have learned in life and done some writing, and sometimes there's a quote in their work that just lives on and on. And today I want to share with you one of those quotes that lives on and on by one of my favorite things. No, two of my favorite things. So one of my favorite things is poetry. One of my favorite poets and authors is Ralph Waldo Emerson. And today I brought to show you one of my favorite daily devotions that I look at personally before I come and talk to you about all kinds of other things. And that's this wonderful book by Mark Nepo, a poet, called The Book of Awakening. And this past month, there was a quote in here by Ralph Waldo Emerson that I want to share with you today. Literally, again, one, two, or three of my favorite things. It's all wrapped up in one message today. Just a quote that Nepo uses to support the devotion for a particular date, and it happened to be in this month of September. But this is the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He writes, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." Think about it. What lies before us or behind us, they're tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And it's also one of my favorite things to talk about the power that is within us. And in my life, I never really could have imagined that decades and decades and decades ago, that I would discover this truth. It was completely unbeknownst to me, and maybe you share in that experience as well. I always thought that what was outside of myself, my environment, working career, and how I managed those things, or should we be more honest about this, how I controlled or tried to control those things, I thought that was what mattered in life. And I was trying to control things so as, of course, not to get hurt or be hurt myself. And what I discovered in my spiritual journey, and it was just a step at a time, but a real willingness to take another step all the time, I discovered that what is outside of myself or in the past or in the not yet future is pretty irrelevant. What matters is within you. Your heart, we use that phrase, what is within you, your heart. I also like to use the phrase or the term, your inner being, your capital I and capital B, your inner being. This is maybe in a traditional language, your soul. But I think that it's even bigger or even more than that. And it is what seeks to be in the forefront of your daily life and your daily choices. So I want you to try to just imagine this for a moment. What we tend to do is, in your mind's eye, see a little stick figure of you. And like a child grabbing onto a mother's apron strings, see a image, maybe another stick figure, of something hanging onto your apron strings while you're moving through life fast. And this other entity or being, which is you, your inner being, it's kind of hanging on and it's just going along for the ride because you're in the forefront, you're in the front, right? And that's how I lived my life for a really long time. There's not much my inner being could do just hanging on to my apron strings while I just move through life, right? But instead, to place that inner being, that is the divine essence of who you are, love, pure love, and have that be in the forefront. And if you have to be hanging on to apron strings, let it be you in this physical experience, hanging onto the apron strings of your inner being, but let your inner being be in the forefront and let your inner being do the walking or the running or the turning to the right or the turning to the left or the sitting or the stopping. And how do you transform putting that inner being in front of you? It happens in your mind. It happens in your heart. And it is, to me, about meditation and a prayer life and a willingness to let go and to accept that there is just something so sophisticated and beautiful and wonderful and bigger and more organized than myself. And when I learn to surrender to that and let go and let that love me, that is when, oh my gosh, just the serendipity of life really is something that you can experience. And your experiences that you may have had, they become even more rich and more meaningful when you swap these two entities again around, putting the inner being in the forefront. And I think that that's what Emerson is trying to say in this quote. It's just completely irrelevant about the past and the future. The relevance lies within you. And as I always love to say, if you want to go higher in life, you got to go deeper. And that's my invitation for you this day, is to go deeper. And if you ask, it will be shown to you how to go about that. So thank you for listening today. Tune in tomorrow for perhaps more of my favorite things. Sorry to be inundating you with all of this. And remember to live to love. Take care. Bye, I know.